Hello. So it's been about 3 to 4 months, between 3 or 4 months, that I have stopped playing Space Station. And from then to now, I can confidently say that my life has improved dramatically. I am much happier than I was 3 to 4 months ago. And I feel like I am doing the things I want to do with my life. I feel like I can make conscious, effective decisions that I want for my life. And I'm not going to say that quitting Space Station was why all that happened. I think it was a very small step in the right direction. I think it's very naive and honestly stupid and misleading to say that whatever game you're addicted to, if it's Space Station or otherwise, that if you just quit it, everything's just gonna fall into place and make sense. I think people need context on what's actually going on and how your decisions can affect your life. So when I was playing Space Station, I'm sure if you watched my video here, I don't know why this has almost 200 views. I don't know who linked it, what Discord, because I didn't link it anywhere. Well, whatever. When I was playing Space Station, the number one thing I was concerned about was attention. I wanted the community to look at what I was doing and be impressed by it. I wanted to do impressive feats, quote unquote, to impress my group. And I think that's a very common thing. Very, very common thing. Especially, you can even say in CM. In CM, you want to, robust Xenos. You want to get victory when defeat was certain. All that crap, right? These are very. They have a very strong one-to-one mapping to base primal male drives and the environments that we have evolved in and thus created our instincts from. We had to rely on other men, and we had to bond and trust each other to take on external threats. That's what we had to do. And those drives and instincts are still there, but they manifest depending on the environment we're in. So in a way, if it's taking, say, Colonial Marines, for example, you got your tribe, you got your friends that you look after. You don't look after everyone on the Marine or Xeno side. You look after people you like, and you want to show that you can carry your weight, that you're dependable, all these things. And at the end, after, you want to be able to share stories about all the quote unquote brave actions you did, blah blah blah. Like that's the addicting part. And the frustration comes from the fact that first, after the 9 millionth time you do that, you're going to get very jaded. You're not going to get that same, dopamine hit like you did the first time all that happened, which caused you to want to play like you do now. And another thing is that the medium, Space Station, Colonial Marines, whatever, it's very frustrating to take seriously. To take that game seriously, you have to put up with a lot of bullshit. And when you're only really playing for like status and like the things I described earlier, like spending 1, 2, 3 hours hoping that something like that will happen, you're going to get disgruntled. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of the burnouts kind of act in the same way, kind of destructively, self-destructively, kind of cynical. Like they have a way about them. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about when you interact with like a burnout. It's a night and day difference between someone new and a burnout, right? This is not happening in just Space Station. This is happening in every video game that guys take seriously. Because these games should not be taken seriously. Games either if it's a board game or if it's just kids outside playing some game that they made up, or if it's a video game. Games are primarily designed to improve a transferable skill safely that will be useful to you in real life. Like, for example, like, kids wrestling. Like, you got kids wrestling in the playground. Like, they're training fighting skills because you can't just rely wholly on just like being thrown in like a life or death situation with no previous training and hoping like it just works out. That's kind of inefficient. Kids will practice on each other for the real thing. Now, a less I guess violent thing is like, say, like a strategy game. You play a strategy game, you're training strategic long-term thinking, uh, like the concept of doing an action now, having consequences 20 minutes from now, like an hour from now, a day from now, all these, like, you're training transferable skills. And if you were to take the medium of training, which is the game, too seriously, you break down the usefulness and enjoyment of the game. Have you ever noticed, I don't know, maybe if you watch high level Twitch streamers or you're even high level at a game yourself, have you ever noticed that it's so common for people to say, I fucking hate this game? For people who spend so much time on the game, it's unusually common for people to say, I hate this game. Well, there's a reason for that. The reason is the game was not meant to be solved. It's just meant to be a training tool for young people. You can't expect to enjoy a game you've solved because you've solved it. It's not interesting anymore. And games that cannot really be solved because there's like a dexterity requirement, like, say, I don't know, like an RTS game where you got a macro and build units and all this stuff. It just turns into speed running, and speed running is definitely peak gaming degeneracy. A lot of games now are just competitive speed running. Now, I want to show you a game. I'm not going to click on any video. This is just to, have some dynamic visuals on the screen. This game is like crack for the young male mind. This game is definitely, all the things I said before, this game is so bad for a young male mind. It's ridiculous. It is such a high concentrated dose of tribal warfare. And that is, like I said, crack for a young male mind. To be able to participate in tribal warfare safely and from the comfort of your own home, whew, oh my goodness. Of course, there are many games like this, like Dota, same concept, 5v5. It's interesting how 5 is kind of the number. 5 feels, I don't know, whatever, who cares about 5? Counter-Strike, same, all this crap, right? I think I'm kind of being the horse dead here, or the dead horse. I don't know what the phrasing is, whatever. Where gaming is, don't play games anymore. Or rather, yeah, no. I don't have a script. I'm gonna go back. Okay, so my life. So I realized all these things about games that it's hitting me on a deep primal level, and I'm trying to fulfill something that honestly isn't very readily fulfillable now. Like I said, tribal warfare. What can you really do? Like sports, I guess. I guess sports is a good thing. Whatever. How has my life changed since I quit Space Station? Well, once I realized how these games were addictive, why they were addictive, it became a lot easier to not derive enjoyment from them anymore because I kind of saw it for what it was. I thought, okay, I'm playing hoping that I do something cool that people see and I get a dopamine hit because it feels like the tribe or the gang or whatever has saw me do something cool which would increase my status. So then I reasoned to myself, what status? Really, what status? Who am I impressing? I'm impressing people that don't have a consequence in my life, that I don't respect. These are the people I'm impressing. And when I realized that, oh, and also I realized that that respect I'm getting is not permanent, it's fleeting. It comes, it leaves. It has no impact. It does not build on my life. It's not like I'm some like sergeant in like a Roman legion and I lead my group of men that are under me in some cool raid that was instrumental in victory for Rome, and the general noticed my heroic deed and all the people are saying, "Whoa, you're fucking brave and strong and cool." Like that has very strong implications for my quality of life later. Like my mate selection has increased and improved. People want to be my friend. People want me to around. They will go out of their way to help me because they know that I'm worth it. Like these are things that I'm gaining from that. But I'm not gaining it through here. I'm just tricked into thinking I will because it's hitting all the right notes. So, when I realized that, I felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders and I could think clearly. I felt emancipated. I felt like I was free to make the choices I want for myself as a man. And things started getting better. Now, it wasn't some big euphoria or I did things in a manic manner. I felt calm. I felt like my mind had more room to operate in, that I was could better deal with stress and anxieties and frustrations, that I had a bigger threshold for them, which allowed me to do more challenging tasks. Like I started playing violin again. I played for about a year, 8 years ago, and then I stopped. Um, and I started playing again, and I find it extremely enjoyable. It's a hard instrument. I sound like shit. Like that's just how it is. But I enjoy the challenge. Like it can get frustrating sometimes, but I have the mental capacity to push through and keep at it. And when I wake up and I do the same task again, I notice I'm a little bit better than I was yesterday, and that gives me a dopamine hit, which makes me keep going. And that's kind of what your brain has been designed to do. I feel like we all live in a world that either is intentionally or unintentionally designed to keep you depressed and unfulfilled. I think intentionally, because a depressed and unfulfilled person is easier to manipulate. Look how easy it was for me to be manipulated into doing or to invest so much time in a game that was not benefiting me. It was maladaptive. And another point I would like to make is look how so the coronavirus, it was the biggest world shift I've ever in my life. In my 28 to 29 years of living, it was the biggest shift of the world I've ever experienced. 9/11 was one, but I was a kid and I wasn't conscious really. I didn't really know what was going on, but now I know what's going on. The biggest shift, and now with all these riots in some city I've never been to, that's far away, that has no real impact on my life, happened. Everyone just forgot about the coronavirus. What the fuck? It made me realize that maybe it's not just games that are weighing people down. It's, you know, like the media. Like everyone's consuming the same media. Like you have people from like Albania, in fucking Turkey, and you know all these Greece. You have all these people who have no real business knowing anything about riots in an American city, talking about it, even protesting in their own cities, in their own countries, far away from like the United States. There is such a powerful pull that the media has on the global consciousness. And I think that people need to unplug. Just like how like I unplugged from like gaming. I think it's not, I think gaming is just the tip of the iceberg. I think there's so much more that's going on in the things we're consuming that we need to excise. I think there's tons of emotional parasites that we all need to excise, that we have been implanted on us when we were young, when we didn't know any better, and now it's time as for us as adults to get rid of them. So, yeah, I don't know. I got rid of my smartphone. I don't have a smartphone anymore. I don't know if I told anyone that. I think getting rid of your smartphone is a really good decision. I don't know what else to say. Anything else is kind of not very relevant or tangently, and that's not very interesting to listen to. I mean, I already went on a tangent with coronavirus and shit. Yeah, I think our minds have been sold an artificial outlet for some of our instincts. Like our instincts are being subverted to become maladaptive. Like I said, the desire to impress my peers has been subverted and maladapted in my gaming ventures, in my role playing ventures. And I'm sure, and there's a lot of other things too. I don't know. I'm not very conscious of, but yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll just stop it there. Hopefully this is a good take. And yeah, maybe I'll upload it. Thank you for listening. I hope you manage to find the right path for you in life that makes you fulfilled and not trick you into taking on baggage that just makes you miserable at the end of the day. Thank you.